Like all Foundation Rugby League clubs, both in Sydney and the north of England, Western Suburbs emerged from the local rugby union club. A move propelled by players desperate for protection of their wages while off work with football injuries. This was especially so for the cherry pickers in the wilds of Ashfield and the Western Suburbs in the first decade of the 20th century. A tough environment forged tough players, an important characteristic of the Magpies throughout the 100 years. The Western Suburbs Team of the Century is a showcase of players capable of physically dominating an opposition, a side laced with drive and flair and creative skills in abundance. And leadership has never been a problem at the Magpies. Along the way, the club has provided 3 Kangaroo touring captains: Frank McMillan, Cole Maxwell and Arthur Summers. Arthur was captain-coach of the all-conquering 1963-64 Australian side. All in all, a galaxy of greats for selectors and supporters to ponder over. Who should be the fullback in West's Team of the Century? A difficult choice, with nominees including Skinny McMillan, Billy Keto, Darcy Russell, Don Parrish, John Dorahy and more, right through to current junior product Brett Hodgson. To help assess the player for the number 1 jumper, who better than one of our leading fullbacks and an icon of the club? Jimmy Charlton, a man who played from 1934 to 1939 and captained West in his final season. In fact, Jim succeeded the selector's choice, Frank McMillan.
Oh, he wasn't very robust built sort of a guy, no. He was a very unorthodox type of player. And anything he done very well as a footballer. He was on his own, no one was second to him.
Frank McMillan did it all for West. He twice combined Kangaroo Tours and Magpie Premiership success, 1929-30 and 1933-34. Skinny captained the Australians on the second trip. The man credited with revolutionising fullback play by joining the line and attacking, went on to coach West and ultimately become club president. A sad note to temper celebration of West's record representation of 5 players in the 1933-34 Kangaroos. Popular Magpie junior winger Ray Morris was hospitalised in Malta and died of meningitis. His teammates continued on. The Magpies would have power and skill on the wings. Peter Dimond arrived as a teenager from Dapto, played 155 matches, including a club record 4 grand finals for the Magpies. He debuted at 19 years of age versus Alan Prescott's 1958 Great Britain side and played Test until 66. Here, Dimond contributes one of his 2 tries in the 1963 50-12 massacre at Swinton, as the Kangaroos claim the Ashes for the first time in 50 years on British soil. Peter was always on hand when the Pommies needed taming. On the other flank, and every bit as robust, Alan Ridley. Alan from Queanbeyan was an even bigger winger than Dimond.
Ridley?
That's right.
A big winger?
Yeah, he was great. He should be in the World's team. The Western Suburbs.
Yeah.
Oh, right. But he was a good bloke.
Good bloke.
Oh, he was a good bloke.
A big winger, fast.
Well, he was I'd say 6'3", and he'd be 15 and a half stone. Could run like a deer.
Well, he virtually scored a try a game. I think he scored 53 tries in 60 matches for West.
I wouldn't be surprised in any record I heard that he's supposed to have broken, because he was capable of it.
Yeah.
Alan Ridley toured with the 1933-34 Kangaroos, claimed a premiership with the Magpies in 34 and scored 53 tries in his 60 games with West.
Peter Dimond.
For
He
2
was
weeks.
hard and tough and game as anything. Oh, he was a good player. Oh, he was nearly 6 feet, 14 stone. Alan Ridley was about 6'3", and nearly 16 stone. And I put him on the mark. I reckon Ridley would win any sprint race.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But it was a different era. You're only guessing.
Yeah.
Only guessing. But if I was to pick 2, Ridley would be in my team.
The centres are the formidable combination of Harry Wells and Cliff Pearce. Dealer Wells was an essential part of West's Millionaires rebuilding program of the 50s. and played 85 games from 56 to 1961. Dealer was an international from 1952.
We've always had his best when Harry Wills was the inside centre. Harry Wills would take a lot of hard dumps, you know, and give him the ball, and he knew what to do with it. But they were a great combination. But he always had his best when Harry Wills was inside centre for him.
Cliff Pearce played in West's first premiership in 1930. He would have had a second blazer, but missed the 1934 season after breaking his leg as the 33-34 Kangaroo Tour wound down with a match against the rest. Pearce played 65 games for the Magpies from 1929 to 1937, consistently playing for the state and starring in 7 tests.
Now, what about Cliff Pearce?
Well, Cliff come from Tamworth. His nickname was Tammy Pearce. And as I came into the game, he was off with a broken leg. It didn't ruin his career because after a seasonal spell, he was captain of West for 3 or 4 years, and I played with him. Yeah. But he was a nice bloke too.
A good captain, good leader?
Good captain, good leader, good player, and a good man. Good friend to everybody.
What sort of size? A chunky sort of
player? Oh, he was a crash and bash artist.
Was he? Yeah.
Oh, but he was good at it, mate. Oh yes, he was good.
Lee's teamed in the team with Harry Wells, so similar styles?
I would say that he'd be a bit more brutal than Harry Wells.
A bit more brutal than the dealer?
A comparison in their ability as footballers, I think Cliff would get picked in front of Harry Wells. But Harry Wells, that's a hard question to answer now.
You have to feel sorry for test calibre Magpie pivots such as Frank Stanmore, Darcy Henry, Arthur Summons and others, as Vic Hey was destined to claim the 5'8" spot.
What about Vic Hey?
He's the greatest footballer ever lived. Vic Hey was on his bloody own, mate. No one will ever. I played with him in New Zealand, I played with him in Sydney. And it broke my heart when he had to go up to Wimbledon and he went to England. Australians never ever saw the greatness of him, but boy, oh boy. Yeah, look, even if he wasn't picked for attack, he should have been picked for defence because I can't speak highly enough of him. My first go in first grade, at the sports ground, we played St George. And I think Robinson was a fullback for St George, I'm not sure, but it don't matter. He kicked a very high punt and hit Charlie Cornwell on the hand. Put them all on side, and boy, oh boy, did they have a tough pack of forwards. Here's me. Wait for the ball. I never jibbed though. And the hand come past my chest, he says, "It's mine, Jim. Move over." He just moved away. He just had time to catch the ball, set himself, split second timing, and it was three St George tough forward, and they're on the ground. He went bing, 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 but 4 or 5 side steps and put it under the paper. I'll never forget. I can remember it if it happened yesterday. Only Vic Hey could do that.
Vic only had 3 years at Western Suburbs, establishing his greatness with a premiership and Kangaroo selection in 1933-34.
Vic, you could tell them about the time you chased that little Tommy Black and when he jumped in England and you jumped the fence to catch him.
And as I passed the ball, you know, this way out, this to me front, and when I went to back up, or just before I backed up, he sunk me on the chin, see? So I'm after him up the field, see? Up we go up the bloody field, I wouldn't have caught him if I'd had a motorbike. He jumped into the crowd at the end and the referee come back and he said, off, off. I said, I didn't catch him. He said, off, off. I said, off my life.
Another veteran Magpie stalwart and a keen judge of a footballer was Ray Gillam. After pioneering South Coast football, Ray journeyed through Glebe, East and Norths before finding a home among the Magpies in 1936. He played, coached and was a long-term administrator with West, and Don Bradman's brother-in-law always had a story to tell.
I'll tell you my opinion of Keith, and he used to get me to watch him and give him my opinion like he did with others too, but about his game. But I reckon Keith was a great footballer, but he depended a lot on his own physical fitness. He was that sort of a player.
Yeah. The Magpies have always been blessed with outstanding test-calibre halves. But even with Les Mousey Mead and Tom Raudonikis to choose from, how could the selectors go past Keith Holman? Only two other players have played more tests than Yappy, whose dedication to West through 202 matches from 1948 to 61 was exemplary. In a rare tribute, the league itself honoured Holman with a testimonial in 1961.
What about Keith Holman? How do you rate him as your all-time half?
He's good. Similar to Mousey Mead. Mousey Mead was a scrum half in my year. Similar type of player. On a wet day, it was always at their best. No one ever outplayed Mousey Mead on a wet day. And Holman was very similar, but he was a bit more brilliant.
I enjoyed playing against Holman. He was really one of the top great halfbacks, and tough as he was, he would never say die, that man.
At lock forward, a graduate of Roy Masters' all-conquering 1973 Australian schoolboys team, Les Boyd, nicknamed the baby-faced assassin, debuted for West at age 17 in 1976 and played 67 generally drama-charged matches before being poached by the Silvertails. Boyd was an extremely skillful player in attack and a punishing defender, representing the Magpies on the 78 Kangaroo Tour.
West, big moment now. They've got to score to get back into this game. Boyd, he's there! What did he have? Oh, that's a good try. Just the right try. Out it comes to Foster. They've got a man over if they can use it. There's Boyd. Boyd striding up well. He's showing a lot of pace too. He's busted one tackle, got it back into Mosley. Mosley's through! And he'll go round.
In the second row, another recruit in the Millionaires campaign, Queenslander Kel O'Shea. O'Shea was a champion back rower who played 110 matches in the black and white from 1956 to 63, many times as captain. Kel played 15 tests, quite often in a second row partnership with Norm Provan. The giant forward played in two grand finals for West, 61 and 63. In Kel O'Shea's era, Western Suburbs were renowned for their grandstand finishes, as they regularly appeared in the match of the day at the SCG.
One thing I've got to tell you about is Ned Kelly's always been boasting about one day when Neville Charlton left West and went to play with East in a game on the sports ground. Neville lost his teeth. Someone has biffed Neville in the kisser. All I've got to say, it was me. And poor friend Ned Kelly's been claiming that ever since.
Kel's second row partner, a local from Parramatta Rugby Union, Arthur Clues. Like Vic Hey, Arthur Clues was another talented young magpie to be snaffled up by English club Leeds.
I've watched every team since 1948, when I played for Leeds in 47. I've seen every Australian team since 1948 tour this country. I've done a lot of work for the Australians as liaison officer, this, that and the other. But they were tremendous this side, and I don't think I've seen a finer side in my life.
To the front row. He was described in Gary Lester's excellent book on the history of Western Suburbs, Clouds of Dust, Buckets of Blood, as a larger-than-life character who was fundamental to the spirit of Western Suburbs. John Donnelly was recruited from Gunnedah in 1975. Nicknamed Dallas simply because he was bigger than Texas, Donnelly was a lovable rogue who contributed as much to West's off the field as he did during his 147 matches for the Magpies. A crowd favourite, Dallas was a mainstay of the club during the turbulent 80s as West fought the league for survival. Donnelly was underutilised at rep level, only playing for Australia in 75 and 77. While he made opposing teams feel nervous, he obviously did the same to representative selectors and administrators. Dal had a special sense of humour and kicked this field goal against Parramatta at Lidcombe so his mum at home in Gunnedah could see him on television. Ashfield Auditorium was packed to witness former President Bill Carson presenting life membership to a favourite son.
And I'd just like to congratulate Jim Cameron on getting his wish. Dallas gets life. He tried that about 6 years ago. Thanks very much. I've been to Phillip Street a few times and things like that, and people have published things and blokes have got away with different things. But I don't know, there was a paper that published something one time and a certain bloke took them on defamation of character. But I don't know who painted this or made it up, but there's a big chance of me taking them on defamation of looks. I don't think I'm that man.
Dallas's partner at prop is Tedda Courtney, equally at home with the tag, a legend of the Western Suburbs club, playing a remarkable 157 games in a competition composed of only 8 teams from 1911 to 1924.
Tedda Courtney.
No, I didn't know him.
So by way of reputation and the background to the club and his influence over such a long career.
He was thought a lot of by the club as a man and as a footballer. You'd have to get someone older than me to get information to know.
It was a phenomenal career.
Yeah.
1911 to 1924 he played with West 304
That's right,
games.
yeah. Cast on.
Was he?
Tedda Courtney was an original 1908 rebel, playing against the touring All Goals. He made the 1911 Kangaroos from West and lined up against the Poms again when they toured here in 1914. Equally effective at hooker or prop in both club and representative matches, Noel Kelly contributed one of the fastest things in football, Ned's left arm.
A fuming Noel Kelly lands a perfect left hook on Orchard's jaw in retaliation. An all-in brawl erupts and referee Pearce sends off Kelly and Orchard. A brawl breaks out. In the middle of it is Billy Smith, mixing it with the heavyweights. Watch here as Ned Kelly flattens Dave Robinson, who is laid out cold. Referee Pearce takes no action as the bell sounds.
Ned joined the Magpies in 1961, playing 115 games through to 1969 when he retired as captain coach. An effective hooker in an era when scrummaging was an art form and possession was everything. Kelly was also a damaging open forward in both defence and attack. A lovable rogue who fitted right in at the Magpies.
What about Noel Kelly, Ned Kelly?
Well, hey, I got no Kelly for West at the Malpass Hotel at Home Hill in Queensland. He was coaching the birding and that's there. I'm doing the show there, you see. I signed him up on a coaster. In the pub, we both had a few beers.
A lot of Magpie supporters glad you did.
He knows it too. Yeah.
Noel Kelly first made a name for himself in 1959 as Queensland upset New South Wales. He was the first forward to make 3 Kangaroo tours. He and Ned Powers over the line during the 50-12 Swinton Massacre in 1963. In the current rugby league era, the bench players are fundamental to a team's success. And how about these for impact players? Tommy Raudonikis, Neville Charlton, John Dorahy, and Bill Carson. Bill Carson was a prop or second row